I am hiding from the wind for just a few more minutes here.
As you can see, I've actually been happy to have all my layers here. Looks like today I have about 21-ish miles to get up and over Cirque of the Towers, 2 big major passes, and then hopefully back to the red line somewhere around there. Tomorrow will basically take me out of the winds, hopefully, and then the day after I will get to South Pass City, hopefully in time to be able to pick up my food box. I'm doing okay food-wise. I seem to have done a pretty good job here. Big thanks to Taters for not sending me too much stuff in the box, because that's one of the hard things when you're a hiker out here. You know, you get a box that has all your favorite things and you can't bear to like toss away some of those, so you end up carrying more. And when I was trying to do, you know, a 7-8 day carry here, that it's already pretty bad. Our secret weapon has actually been the meal replacements. So this is a mix of basically minute rice and freeze-dried beans, either the Santa Fe ones, or somebody reached out and told me about some green chili ones at Walmart that were actually really good. And that's what the green stuff in here is. And I can basically eat that without tortillas, but the beans plus the rice is really filling, gives me everything I need. And then if I want to get fancy, I add some cheese. I'm going to be out of cheese after tonight. Extra sharp cheddar has been my go-to as far as cheese. If you try and do like mozzarella, pepper jack, anything like that, it tends to melt even if it's cold, get really greasy and mushy and just make a mess. So you want the hardest possible cheese. Also, for whatever reason, that Vermont white cheddar does not seem to keep as well as the yellow, despite the fact all the people in Vermont last year just telling me that the non-Vermont cheddar is just adding food coloring. Food coloring apparently helps it as a better backpacking food. Anybody wants to make green cheddar, I am totally there. Yesterday was obviously a bit of an easier day with how the trail went. Wasn't as much rugged up and down. The end of the day before, really kicked the crap out of me with me feeling the altitude and everything. Also, the weather was clear. Did not even have a rainstorm get close. However, it was a red flag warning just due to the high winds. When I ran into those backpackers, I was asking them if they had a weather forecast, and they were claiming the weather forecast was basically clear and a little bit breezy. When I got reception, that was the first thing I checked, and I saw some clouds yesterday that were I into the Sierra, I would be worried that I would about to be hit by something. And as you can see, we got some cloud cover early. However, the weather has been so variable out here, I've stopped trying to make any predictions, and I just deal whatever is right around me that particular hour. Also, you may have seen me commenting at length over the last couple of months about all my issues with the Nightcore 20K. Good news, they finally got me one that works. Basically, with all the video editing, and the longer carries, I had bigger power needs, and last year I was running on fumes with a single 20K, so now I have a 20K and a 10K, and I got the Nightcore because they're a little bit lighter. The 10K never gave me an issue. Don't really like the light setup quite as good as the Yonkers. It's basically recessed into the button, so it's just, I don't know, messier, I guess. The 20K... It was brand new when I got it. They just released this. You'll get the ultralight people telling you, oh no, get 2 10Ks instead because these are a little more efficient. I'm not 100% convinced that 2 of these is the equivalent of 1 of these. Plus, if I was going to carry 3 of these, that would be a lot harder to charge because I'd have to be swapping stuff out all the time. But this has been working pretty well, at least for these longer carries. At the moment, the 10K is full. The 20K has 2 lights, which means I'm somewhere around 50%. However, the lower end tends to discharge quicker than the upper end. So I figure I probably got 1.5, maybe 2 charges left out of this. And then this one will get me 2.5 or so. And I know, phone bad, or else you've got a cousin who like has made it through a 10-month thing with just like a small solar panel. This is what works for me. It all depends on what your power use is. And I basically listen to audiobooks all day, and out here I'm having to check gut hooks pretty much constantly. If I'm talking, like when I was talking to Zach Galifianakis a couple of days ago and I wasn't on my phone at all, you know, I went through a couple of percentage points on my phone. But on a normal day, I will charge it to the 70 or 80% mark, and by the time I get to camp, it's down to 20. Unless I get cell reception and I'm trying to like chat and post things, and then, oh God, that kills the battery so quick. You'll basically screw around for like 20 minutes and then realize you're down 20% battery. Still, this is way better than the days of having, you know, a separate GPS battery, a separate camera battery, etc., MP3 player. I am totally willing to die on that hill as far as advising people that one of the best investments you can get before a thru hike like this is a newish iPhone. Waterproof, the battery is not degraded, and it just replaces so many items. Having long hair like mine really is not an advantage out here, but Taters absolutely adores it, so. Turns out my hair is a lot like me, thick and difficult. So today will hopefully be the entirety of the Cirque of the Towers alt. And the deal with this alt is, unlike many of the alts I've seen along the way, this is something that basically runs parallel, maybe adds or subtracts a mile or two, has significantly more gain, but is a cool section to go through. Versus Anaconda or one of those where, you know, basically it's straight subtract miles off of your hike sort of thing. Also, every time I mentioned I was coming up here to any of the locals, they just said, oh, you're probably going to have a lot of company up there. Fortunately, the mileage worked out for me where I could camp right at the base and hopefully right at the other end. So if there are a ton of tent cities around like Lonesome Lake and some of those things up high, I won't have to stay there. Unless something goes wrong, and I have been having a hell of a time with crotch chafing, despite using that Aquaphor anti-chafe cream and aggressively washing off down there with a bandana several times a day. And as I've mentioned before, this is one of those things that basically doesn't hit me until I'm months into a thru hike. So I'm suspecting it's just my skin reacting to the sweat and building up over time. It would be a whole hell of a lot easier if I could reproduce some of these issues on, you know, like week-long backpacks, because then I could troubleshoot them. Because the problem is, once I'm out here, I have limited access to gear changes and things like that. It wasn't even where I expected. Basically, the side that wasn't bothering me yesterday, this morning has a bigger issue. I'm kind of at a loss here at the moment. The unfortunate reality with me seems to be when I have issues like this, I just have to try and survive it and outlast it, because I can't necessarily, there's a lot of issues I have where there is some sort of mechanism I'm able to identify, fix, and okay, you know, I'm not going to get a blister there again because I've adjusted my shoe or something like that. But then there's these other ones that just come out of nowhere and kill me for a couple of days. I mean, yesterday was a fairly good day just as far as easy trail, and the altitude wasn't hitting me. But I had a hard time kind of hitting my hikers then, just because I was in discomfort down there. Also see that whole mess in Hamilton, around Hamilton, with my feet. Or also the Condor Trail, right around where I was on PCH. If I wasn't being held back by these issues, honestly, I would be doing 25 plus miles a day pretty solidly here. Instead, I have to do a trade-off like last night where, okay, I'm starting to hurt, I can't seem to fix it. I either let it get worse or I stop here. Time off, of course, fixes all things, but this isn't the AT where I can just, you know, walk out to a road and get to a town somewhere. If I can't make 15 or 20 miles each day, I'm going to be in trouble here pretty quick. So this is Shadow Lake. Looks like I'm going to straightish. There are just a maze of trails back here. Presumably most of them running off to more remote campsites or things like that. This is where I get grateful to have a GPS track. Ellie's Lake. Brr. steady uphill. And I'm actually leaving my new friend back here because it is too cold to sit around here in the wind for me very long. So this is Texas Pass and Cirque Joke here. And then I'm going to make my way over to Jackass Pass. That guy actually lives in Hamilton and had picked up a number of other CDT hikers over the years. Nice guy, and he gave me some anti-chafe cream to try, which at this point, you know, I'm willing to try pretty much anything. Okay, I think I'm willing to go out on a limb here and officially designate this as not completely sucking. Talking to that guy on that climb made the climb go really quickly, actually. Before that, thanks to the chafing, I was having kind of a bad day. I was actually singing along to a Flogging Molly song. Worst day since yesterday. There are the people. I'm surprised I wasn't seeing more people here. And this is apparently the ironically named Lonesome Lake. I say ironic because per comments, this is a very, very, very popular camping spot. I just have to get around the lake and go up that, I think. Also, damn, that makes me miss mountaineering. One of my favorite parts of being out here is running into weekenders and just talking to them about, you know, once they realize I'm doing a long trail, they get all excited. Not because it makes me feel like a badass, because I'm just okay-ish, but I remember being that person, and that's how I found out about the PCT, and that's what ended up with me being out here, so it's always cool to kind of pass the magic along. So much better than downhill. This pass is kind of anticlimactic after Texas. More chatty people and better intact signs, though. Gotta love all the dual-purpose signs out here. So that pass with the snowfields, that's Texas Pass. That's the one I came across. Okay, and just 14 miles down this wind tunnel to get back to the red line. And I just realized I'm not on the blue line, but should be able to make this work. Trailish. My knees are not the happiest today. I just talked to a group of guys that was out here with climbing gear on their packs. They're out here to do Wolf's Head. They said that since leaving the trailhead, they've been counting, and they counted 133 people. I think this is where I'm going to part ways with a lot of the crowds, but we shall see. So I just looked closer at the map, and I got another 2,000 some foot pass to go over. Well, so much for escaping the crowds. It has been a blustery, chilly day today. Walking through the basin with a bit of warmth doesn't sound the worst today, anyway. Okay, I just checked the map. The head wall at the top of this pass is the last 900 or so feet. I'm gonna get back to almost 11,600 here after having dropped to 9,000 something. Let's get back the way I came.
Temple Pass. That looks like a bed frame. Well, damn. I guess I found the blowdown segment people mentioned. Well, once I found the right path, it's actually been going okay. I also had 1 bar of reception, so I just checked in really quick. Looks like Tater's Sierra trip this weekend went okay. And back to the red line. It's a little after 8 o'clock, so I'm going to go down and get the water right here and then find a campsite where a tree is not going to fall on me. And hopefully I'll make good progress towards the basin tomorrow. Not my most favorite campsite in the world, a little too exposed, and there are some dead trees around that I'm not thrilled with, but it's what I got. Home sweet home for the night.